Alright guys, what's going on? BSG bringing you another Grand Cross video. So in this video, I'm basically gonna be going over units that are very good or just if not used at all for the Red Demon Raid. Again, these videos are geared more towards new / returning players, so if you are a veteran, you have literally no reason to watch this video. There's no reason. There's actually no reason to watch it because you already know the best team comps and you already know the best units to use. But if you're new, you obviously might need a little help on what you could use and whatnot, so this is probably the video for you. Now before we get into it, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I've been getting a lot of love from you guys. I love you all so much. I cannot stress that enough. You guys are awesome. You guys make me want to do this, so thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Really I appreciate it. But let's go ahead and let's just jump right into it. Okay, we'll start at the bottom. There's really no reason to spend much time on this. These are units you're just never gonna use for the Red Demon. You're not gonna use them. You're not. And when I say units for the Red Demon, I mean primarily blue units. I don't really see a reason to use any other color besides blue, since the Red Demon is red, right? I don't really see another reason to use like a green unit or a red unit type neutral. You certainly can, but this is just going to be for blue units. So I mean, if you want to use red units, you can go ahead and search through them, but I just think you should use blue units. And you know, you can definitely get away with some of these units in no use for like normal, but once you reach hard, extreme, and hell, they ain't really doing much. Now I got these four right here because if you build a team around this Elizabeth and Hawk and Gallon for their amplify skill, you can actually deal a lot of damage. But with them, you know, obviously you're doing this with friends, right? You're gonna be able to do this with friends. You're gonna invite people to do this. You don't really want to use any of these units at all, like just at all. Now if there's other new players that you're inviting to the deathmatch itself, like I said, you could get away maybe with some of these units, but they don't do it. Like, they actually don't do anything. Some of them can't even use their passives in the deathmatch, so it doesn't make sense to use them. You could probably get away mostly with these two. I think these two you could definitely get away with because they're literally fodder units. They're meant to die. They're actually just meant to die. Fraudern might be the actually, out of all of these people, like out of all of these units in this no use, Fraudern might be number one. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Fraudern could actually be number one because in the lower, like in the normal and hard, maybe extreme, maybe you could just let him die, get an ult with a very strong heavy hitting blue unit, and then you could probably just nuke away. But again, no use. You're just never really gonna use these guys. There's no point in spending too much time on them. Sub only, I mean, sub only, you're literally only using them for the sub slot, for the fourth slot. I hate Jenna, but she does allow you to get what is it, she does allow you to get cosmetic upgrade material. Like you can actually use her, so I mean, I guess, but I despise this unit. I actually despise this unit. I just do. But I can't take away from the fact that you can use her to get cosmetic upgrades or whatever. But for the most part, the rest of these units are just useful on the sub slot. I actually do think that Gil Thunder, Grayamore, even Golgius, and Marmus, these four are probably the best sub slot units you could use that you're not gonna run in the front for sure. Because their passive skills are actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, they're actually pretty decent. So yeah, you could definitely use these for like even in extreme in the sub slot if you have no other units that you could run. So you get away with using them. All right, let's move up to the okay units. Now this is where things start to get interesting. I know a lot of people are probably gonna look at this tier list and maybe question a few things, but hear me out. So I guess we'll just start. There's no specific order, by the way. It's not like King's the best out of, you know, out of these units to use for the okay. There's no specific order. It's just they're placed, right? So I guess we can just start with the bottom row. So Christmas Lilia, you could combine her with someone who debuffs in extreme like Kyo, and she would do really good damage. Now in Hell, it's going to be a little harder to maximize her damage because there's not a lot of units that are debuff based. So yeah, and here's the thing as well with the Red Demon, he is immune to like shock, bleed, corrosion, so she can't even really maximize on that, right? It sucks, but she can't really do much about that. She can use her dissolve, which can help, but I mean, you know, and this is with her Holy Relic, but she's an okay unit, I guess you could use for sure. She does have Flood, so she can be useful, but other than that, I mean, yeah, he's not doing much. This Blue Lost Vein, oh, that's pretty much why he's on here. That's it. Otherwise, he's gonna be in the no use. I feel like you're just really not gonna get much out of this unit. Being honest, you're just not. Blue Demon Melee definitely could be useful with his Pierce, weak point, single target ult. Could definitely be useful for sure. I feel like he is definitely going to be a unit for newer players that they're gonna use for sure. You know, just because they might not have festival units, especially if you start now where there's legit no way to get festival units. Definitely could use him. Definitely could use him. Would be solid. Definitely. This. all right. Let me just pull something. Let me just do this. This Elaine. She's only useful for the buff, like legit only useful for the buff. That's it. I hate Elaine. I hate Halloween Elaine. If they ever buff her, good, but for now she's actually just trash. Her buff is very good. It's the same thing as a Gil Thunder, Green Gil Thunders, where she increases the attack of all allies. Now on rank 1 it's 30%, which is still really good, but on rank 3 it goes up to 60. So if you get it to rank 3, I mean, do some pretty good damage, but that's it. That's the only reason she's in okay. Otherwise she would be in no use. So if you probably won't have her if you just start it, but you can look back on this and maybe, and you know, for newer players that start whenever she's on a banner again, you know, you could use her. This Lilia is good for healing. That's it. Just good for healing, I guess. You could easily drop her down here, but I feel like you could get away with using her. You combine her with Melee for the Pierce, definitely get away with it. This Rimuru, you guys already know, with the collab up and running as of the recording of this video, this Rimuru did get buffed, so you could use him and it wouldn't be bad because he stuns on his ult. He could put up his stance, which is a taunt, so that way, you know, the Red Demon only targets him with his single targets. He heals whenever he gets hit with that taunt up. He's debuff immune. Very solid unit. He could be useful in Hell, not so much, but you know, you could probably get away with him in extreme. This Melee is alright, I guess. Like, he has weak point, he has a counter. He definitely could be solid for like normal and hard, but that's it. Like normal and hard, and that's legitimately it. That's it. Aaron, he has evasion, so that's good. He has evasion. This Aaron actually is pretty interesting because if the Attack on Titan characters ever get buffed, they definitely, I want them to really buff this Aaron. This SR Aaron, I hope they buff him because he's not like Green Rimuru. He's actually useful. He cancels stances as well on rank 2 for this. So against the Red Demon who uses a stance, that's actually powerful as hell. I like this. It's actually really strong. Again, he has evasion, same thing as the Red Derriere. He increases his basic stats. He has a shatter single target ult, which is going to be very good. This passive is it's decent, but not the craziest. But yeah, I actually feel like he's an okay unit to run if you, I guess, have him. He's actually okay. I think a lot of people might have forgotten his usefulness, but he is pretty useful and he's solid. So hopefully whenever they bring the Attack on Titan collab back, he actually gets access to a Holy Relic and buffs, because the SR Rimuru unfortunately did not get buffed at all, which is a real, like, I think it's a real miss, because even though this SR Rimuru sucks, if they would have like gave him a Holy Relic, which would have been useful, and they would have buffed, you know, his stats or whatever, I feel like you could definitely, as a free-to-play, benefit from this. So it just sucks that they didn't do that for him, but for Aaron, I hope they do. All right, so now we got Tarmiel. Tarmiel for his stance is solid. He can take away orbs. That's pretty good. Just very overall defensive unit, I guess, right? Just very defensive. Nothing too much to say about that. I don't know if you can use his I actually don't know if you can use his passive in the demons. Hold on, let me see real quick. Tarmiel. I don't know if you can. Okay, you can't. Okay, Sag. All right, you can't use his passive for. Can you use his grace? I think you can use his grace. You can't use his passive though. Unfortunate. Real big downside to them, but still okay to use. I think you can use it for extreme for sure. These two Jerichos, I think this SR Jericho, I'm not even gonna lie, I want to use her again. I do want to actually use it for the red demon, but she could actually be a solid. You can move her up. To be honest, you could actually move her up. This Jericho is actually like my favorite SR in the game, I think. Yeah, she actually is my favorite SR in the game. She has a sever single target, which is going to be very good damage wise on the red demon. Her passive skill increases blue units attack release stats by 10%, so she has access to that just by default. Her heal card is very good. I mean, I would actually say it's one of the best heal cards in the game because it heals based off her max HP. So that's pretty good. And then she has a single target bleed card. So I think I actually think, no, not even joking, like you could build her to be just a solid overall red demon unit. If you wanted to build her separately from the other Jerichos with equipment and you give her like crit chance or crit damage, you just do all crit damage gear on her or something like that, you could go crazy with the damage that she does. But I think overall she's an okay unit. She actually is an okay unit for sure over this blue Jericho, because that blue Jericho right there, she's okay. Like she like literally she's okay. Nothing to write home about, but you can use her passive in the back as well. So you don't even have to use her on the front. You can just use her passive, and then every time a critical strike occurs from an ally skill use, their crit chance gets increased by 5%, and you can do this up to 50. So that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. So if you wanted to use her on the back, you could. She does have spike, but the chance of her critting is pretty low, unfortunately. But yeah, she could be useful as a 4-slot unit for sure. I guess you could move her down like this Jericho to sub slot only, but her skills can actually be pretty useful, so I don't know. King is good because he has a petrify. He can remove debuffs as well. That's pretty much it. She can freeze, and every time she gets hit twice, she freezes. He's alright. He just does a really good crit damage because of his passive. Blue Derriere can taunt. She has amplify single target all as well. You guys already know how good her damage is on that, so pretty good. I don't know if there's too much else to talk about with these other units. I mean, pretty much like Merlin's just a damaging unit, I guess. She can disable attacks, using 2 skills. She can steal the ult gauge when using 3. Chandler has full counter, which makes him okay. This Bond is buffed against him, but he just doesn't do much. I'm gonna be honest, that Bond just does not do much of anything when you really look at it. Let's go ahead and look at him. I would say he's more of a setup character because he's made to set up. Oh, he also has cancel stances on rank 2, which is nice. But he's made of, like, you can see he decreases defense related stats. He increases defense by 50% of the enemy's defense. He has a snatch single target. He's more of a setup, so that way you can actually deal some damage against the red demon, but otherwise he's not that good. And then King is okay for the red demon because he has AoEs. That's it. He just has AoEs. If he has a single target, he probably would be really good, but since he has all AoE skills, unfortunately he just doesn't do as much damage. And then with the solid units, these right here are units from these 2 tiers. These are the units that you should probably build for a red demon. I'm gonna be honest with you. You could build the sub-slot units only, sure, and Jericho, but these are like the units that you are gonna see the most for sure. You're gonna see all of these units in the solid and best units. Obviously, the best units being Milim right now, because if you grind her up to level 90, super awakened 6-star and whatnot, her damage is insane. Like, the damage that she does is actually like just stupid. And then obviously Trader Melee and the one Escanor are just really good damaging units. And then these units, funny enough, most of these units are just like buffed units, like buff. He's an attack unit. She's an attack unit. So like there's a mix of support and DPS here, but these are just solid units you want on your team. They're not gonna deal like the craziest damage, but you know, they definitely are gonna be solid. You can run. Even this Bond, like he's garbage everywhere else, but he was made for this. He was literally handmade for it. So I mean, that's why he has the advantage here. Margaret, again, with her buff and her ult, she can do damage, but otherwise she's not going to do too much damage. Elizabeth, she just stuns, removes stances, you guys already know, puts up a barrier. Slater can deal very good damage. Kusak could deal very good damage. Although his passive does not work, he still can deal good damage, right? You buff him up, maybe with Easton, you run him with Easton or something like that, or Margaret, his damage could actually be very solid. So these are the units that you mainly want to focus on when running the Red Demon. The one Escanor, Trader Melee are legitimately, if you have them, they are the 2 units you need. They are actually the 2 units you need. If you have these 2 units and then you have, I don't know, like you could just use Slater or something on the side, I don't know. You don't actually have to worry about getting these units up too much. I mean, you certainly can if you want to, but you don't have to worry about it. Again, the no use, you just pretend they don't even exist. Sub-slot units are sub-slot units, and then the OK units are units if you need to use them. Like if you have no other units you could run, you could definitely get away with using them in like specific difficulties. Hell, you probably just want to run these 2. Especially if you're doing it with other people. If you're doing it solo dolo, you kind of need like the one Escanor, Trader Melee. But I'm assuming most people who are watching this aren't running it solo. Like you're not doing it solo. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this. I think this is a pretty fine like list of units. These are all the blue units. So yeah, let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. What team do you run to beat the Red Demon? He's not hard, so I imagine most people won't have too much like difficulty beating him. But yeah, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and as always, you guys already know, I will see you all later.